Hi Donald. So we are going to speak about this project you did in Kosovo last year.
Hmm.
And so to begin with, I'd like you to explain a bit more the context and the background. So what was going on in Kosovo and why you went there?
Okay. Um, well, I've been working a lot in Russia and Ukraine for the last 5 years, but the Balkans has always been sort of an area of interest for me. And I was reading about these elections and that they were the first not sort of, they were the first independent or the first election since Kosovo declared independence. It was interesting when I got there because, as I said, I had no idea what was going to happen. I just knew it was kind of an election. And I hooked up with a couple of the political parties. The one that I ended up spending most of the time with the PDK, Partia Demokratijas e Kosovas, Democratic Party of Kosovo. And I ended up traveling with the mayor of a town called Gilan, this medium-sized town, a couple hours outside of Pristina. And I thought, okay, I'll just kind of focus with him. And we'd get along, and there was actually somebody on the team that spoke a little bit of English, which always helps, so I know where the next event is going to be. Um, but it was there, I was quite surprised, especially for a local election, it's mayor and council and such like that, that the turnout was quite fascinating, quite dense, probably something like every meeting they went to would easily have a couple of hundred people, if not even more, maybe up to 1,000 people at these town halls and stuff, which is actually quite, different from a Western
Yeah.
or a so-called democratic point of view. So from there, I studied art history and such way back in art college, and this image of my mind, seeing all these hundreds of faces in the crowds with this, sort of beautiful light and the cigarette smoke and stuff, kind of, I thought of two images. One was a painting by, I believe, Vermeer called The Anatomy Lesson.
Yeah.
And, it's a body on this slab and these sort of doctor students and professors sort of all hovering over it with, of course, the beautiful Dutch light. And the second was a photograph of Che Guevara when he was murdered, I guess, by the CIA, and he's lying again on that slab. And there's sort of all these various people around him. And I had this idea of like this political tableau, this idea that, it's not just about the mayor or just about, a moment, a decisive moment of somebody waving a flag or holding up a sticker or the mayor, going like this. To me, it was about this accumulation of people that were into this space.
You said that in Toronto there were only 50 people attending the meeting. So what was the main difference that you see in these meetings?
Rapture, huge, and I think you can see it in some of these photographs, just the complete and utter rapture that they have for whatever it is that the politician has to say. And not to say that they're believing it, but they're listening to it
Mm.
and they're engaged by it and they want to know what he has to say and they want to know how is this actually going to affect me as a resident of Pristina or Prizren or Gilan or whatever it is that they live.
Why do you think they care so much?
Well, I think it's their first chance to sort of determine their own choices. It's just this idea that it is a new country. It's new. We're now making this. Nobody else is making it for us, but we're the ones that are determined. And it was really interesting because you get a whole spectrum of age groups. You get young people in their late teens all the way up to, grandparents,
Yeah.
and they're all sitting there as equally engaged as the next person. And I think, here in North America or Europe, where we have a long history of democracy, that it's something that we take for granted, that we have choice.
Among the picture, there is only one. There is only one in the edit that you sent me that have no person, no people in it. Why did you include that? I mean, does it have has a meaning or?
Yeah, it's got a couple of, well, one is like, going through this whole series where, it's 100 people, and sometimes, I think at minimum there's maybe 8 people in one of the photographs. And then, you go through 20 photographs, and the very last one is this kind of, so in a way, it's like a visual pun, with all these empty sort of chairs. But, you know, more than just a visual sort of play within the edit, I kind of like this idea that, you know, this idea of democracy as a place, you know, because even though democracy is an idea, it's a conceptual framework. Essentially, it's a physical being. So that's how I kind of see this room of democracy, and it's a little bit abstract, but that's kind of the reason why I put it in there. Like, this is where it happens. Where else does it happen? Sure, it happens up, you know, in reading it in textbooks, and, you know, I quoted de Tocqueville and such. But in essence, where does democracy happen? It happens in these kind of rooms with pink curtains where, you know, you sit and you have a cigarette and you listen to somebody.